Welcome to EDN113. During this presentation, we will be looking at the preparation for the WebQuest design for assignment task 1C. For assignment task 1 part C, you are expected to create a group wiki. Now, the group wiki layout is similar to the WebQuest we looked at during session 3. The due date for this WebQuest is the 30th of April before 9 a.m. in the morning, and we're going to just quickly look at what is expected of you to be submitted. To submit, you need each student individually need to submit the marking guide. You have to put the group wiki URL in, your student name and your student number. The rest is to be completed by the tutor on marking. Okay, to help you understand the outlines of the assignment better, I've created an example WebQuest. However, when looking at this example, it is important to bear in mind that, firstly, this is not a complete site. Some pages are not populated and only outlined. B, this is not supposed to be an expert example. This is only an outline of what a WebQuest could look like. And 3, it was created, or C, it was created with the distinct purpose to provide you with a visual example of the layout of a site and abbreviated response on what the information or content should go onto these pages. At the bottom of this slide, you will find the actual WebQuest URL. Bearing all these facts in mind, let's now go on and look at the layout of the WebQuest. This is the menu from our example WebQuest, and this is the requirements that you need to do. And you'll see that they actually goes hand in hand. On the WebQuest, you have an introduction, task, process, evaluation, conclusion, credits, and about us. Those 7 pages are group pages. All members of the groups are to collaborate to create these pages and the content that will populate these pages. Then you have your individual pages, which will be your About Me page and Connection to Meaningful Learning. These pages will be individually populated, so each member will be responsible to populate their own About Me page and their own explanation on firstly, how the project as a whole addresses the characteristics of meaningful learning, and secondly, how the technology and the end product created addresses the characteristics of meaningful learning. Now, if you look at the menu on the WebQuest page that we created, firstly, let's go back and say, if you look at the menu on our WebQuest, you've all created pages or websites up until now throughout this unit. And we are more than happy for you to use those websites in your group. You do not have to create a new website. However, on your home page, you will have to create a sub-page called WebQuest. And then everything that goes underneath your WebQuest should be underneath that sub-page. So, to give you an idea, I had my original home page. From there, I had a page called WebQuest. On the WebQuest page, from there, I created the 7 pages that I needed for my groups. When I came to the About Us page, from there, I created 1 sub-page for each member of the group. And under those sub-pages, I created 1 more sub-page for the connection to meaningful learning. you will see as I go along, I will show you what needs to go on which page. Okay. Hope the layout makes a little bit more sense to you now. Okay, let's look at the content of each page. If you start with your introduction page, you will have a short introduction on what the purpose of the site is and the curriculum content that will be addressed on the site. Going to the task page, on the task page, you need to address what the students will learn and how they will provide evidence of their learning. Again, as a group, you have to decide on what the task is and what the outcomes of the task is. Right, going on to the process, and many of you have a little trouble getting a clear picture on what the process is actually all about. Now, I'm going to try and explain it as clearly as possible. The process is a step-by-step introduction of what the students will do to obtain the knowledge they need to create an end product. Okay. The step-by-step instructions can be seen as mini lessons. So as a group, you will have to develop these mini lessons that will teach and provide the students with the information and resources they need to learn and research the topic of the WebQuest. But you will take 2 or 3 steps for the first part, where you do the general research and provide general information about the topic. And then you will provide in 1 or 2 mini lessons the information that they need to actually enable them to use the digital tools you expect them to use to create the end product. And then you will have 1 step where you actually provide the students with the time to create the end product. So there's quite a few steps there, but as a group you'll have to collaborate on which steps are necessary, which resources you will incorporate, and what medium the students will need to use for the end products. So as you can see, if you look at our WebQuest, I've got the step-by-step process on the one side with all the resources that they need and the end task. Then I've got the examples of the end products that we expect them to do. And then I've got supporting resources. Now the supporting resources is any additional resources that the students might use to extend themselves or to use as revision for the topic. Moving on, evaluation. On this page you will provide the students with a rubric which you as a group will create, showing them what they need to address when they create their end products. As a conclusion, you will have to write up a brief reflection on what the students would have learned during the completion of this project. Credits. Looking at the credits. On the credit page, you will give credit to the people, the images, and the people's works that were used during the creation of this WebQuest. The About Us page is the last page of the group pages. On this, you need pictures of everybody in your group, and you need a short description of you as a group. Brief introduction of who you are, what did you try to accomplish with this WebQuest, that sort of thing. This is not in-depth introduction of each person. It is only a short overall introduction to the group. Now let's move on to our individual pages. Now you'll see that if you go on to the actual WebQuest that I example, once you get to this page, the next page up will be the individual page, the About Me page. Now on the About Me page, you have to have a picture and you have to have a short description of who you are, introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about your studies, past experience, teaching experience, and so forth. There need to be an contact information as well. From there on, the next page or sub-page of this will be your connecting to meaningful learning. Now this is an individual page, so you will be solely responsible for populating this page. On this page, you have to have a section where you look at the alignment to meaningful learning, firstly the project itself. So in your view, how did the overall project address the characteristics of meaningful learning? And then the end product and the technology that you use to create the end product, how did that address the characteristics of meaningful learning? To make it easy for us to mark your explanation, it would be a good idea to include your end product here as well, so that it's an easy reference. And that brings us to the end of our individual pages. It also brings us to the end of our talk for today. Just the last thing that I want to show you, if you go onto the LMS and you go to the Task 1 Digital Citizenship Project, just below the Task 1 Part C Group Wiki, you will find an WebQuest layout example. That link will take you to the example WebQuest. Good luck.